in Baltimore. Don't ask him about preseason games, oh no. Stuffing things in Griffin Basso. Despite it being on the internet, he can call it what he wants, so Glenn Clark Radio. Glenn Clark Radio. Glenn Clark Radio. Duke sucks.
Pretty good lead at second. And Ward is bidding for another extra base hit. And he's got it! Over the glove of Hill. 3 doubles today. A triple-double for Taylor Ward. And the Orioles take a 5-3 lead in the ninth. If you don't throw him a strike, he's probably not going to swing. He threw him a strike, and he struck him out with a foul tip. 1-2 pitch. Struck him out with another changeup. Absolute filth from Rico, who is 1 out away from that first career save and a series sweep. And he swings and grounds the ball to second base. Jeremiah Jackson to first. The Orioles sweep the White Sox.
All courtesy of MASN yesterday. Yeah, Taylor Ward, the big star, 4 hits, 3 of them doubles. Bullpen coming through as the Orioles do complete the sweep of the White Sox. Hi, you're watching history. The first ever late afternoon edition of GCR. I assume that, have we given any statements to the fawning press? That I
haven't yet. Do I? I mean, you are the press.
Well, I'm the press.
You
think they're going to lead with
news.
this over at WBAL? Is that what you think? The first ever late afternoon Glenn Clark Radio. So, apologies that we weren't here yesterday. You can blame WBAL, but you'd also need to blame the Orioles and White Sox for playing an afternoon game. I have never had a problem with the idea of us being flexible. That's the nice part about what we do over here, is that while we've always done 10 or 11 a.m., sometimes earlier in the morning, depending on where we were, part of the reason I've, over the years, tried to avoid making this an afternoon show is because there's more of a likelihood of a game happening in the afternoon, whether it is more than anything an Orioles game. From time to time, there might be like a Maryland basketball tournament game, either during Thanksgiving week or perhaps during the ACC or NCAA tournaments. So I've always preferred, with the ability to control it, I've always thought that late morning, mid-morning is typically the best time to do the show. It also leaves more time during the course of the day for those of you that don't watch or listen live in order to be able to download it, and that helps our numbers. Thumbs up. Nice part about doing this one today is the Orioles don't play again tonight. So, like, tomorrow, what we talked about today is still probably fairly fresh tomorrow morning. If you haven't been paying attention, I have been over at WBAL the last couple of days hosting TJ Smith's show. We would have done the same thing yesterday that we're doing today, but we just didn't want to compete with the Orioles. It would just be tough for them that nobody watched because they would everybody be over here. So
makes sense.
I don't want to do that to them. We like them. We get along. I mean, other teams.
It's very prudent of
right. Yeah, just benevolent. I would even say that we made that decision. So yes, this afternoon and tomorrow afternoon, we're still getting you 4 shows this week. We're not cutting back on that. We're still doing 4 shows. Had somebody say, "What, you're prioritizing WBAL?" Now, what I'm doing is trying to make it work. All of it. And depending on whoever's got the flexibility, can we make it work? Griffin doesn't know this yet, but it was brought to my attention I might have an issue next week on one day that we'll have to work around. We'll figure it out. Like, whatever we need to do in order to make that work. My goal is to give you 4 shows every week. If that doesn't happen, so be it. We'll make it work somehow, some way. It's just about where the flexibility is. So that's the goal. That's why we're on today, and we'll be on again tomorrow live at 3 p.m. And for those of you that listen later on today, you're going to say, it don't affect me. I listen at 5 o'clock every day no matter what. Well, good news. You got your show. That's the way that it goes. Because we weren't on yesterday, we are actually 2 days behind on Men of the Match. And 2 days ago, going back to Tuesday,
What happened then?
it's not like anybody had a particularly good game in general, but someone did come through with the biggest swing of the game. And it's not like Gunnar Henderson had a bad game. He had a good game, and he came through left on left with the game-winning 2-run homer as the Orioles beat the White Sox on Tuesday night. So Gunnar Henderson.
Oh, sorry, it was a Tuesday day game, right? I guess
It was
yeah,
also, yes.
yeah,
That, by the way,
it's been a weird
that
week.
screwed some stuff up for us this week. Again, goofy show that we
yeah.
did on Tuesday where we did a show and then Sean Burke randomly popped on. If you watched the show live, you would have had no idea that Sean Burke, who was Wednesday's starter for the White Sox and a former Terp, that he was a guest on the show. Well,
Yeah.
he was.
And then if you listen to just the podcast, then
Yes.
Sean Burke was on.
We never did just post the video of that. I felt like we should have done.
Well, we have the way we did it. Yeah, because we went live.
Right, but we could have just posted that. Did we go live on YouTube as well?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. I guess
All
I
right.
should have. I guess we could change the title of it. Yeah.
Yeah,
just
it
make
probably
it.
would have made
yeah,
a little
I
bit
guess
more sense to do
should.
that. I don't know.
I can do that.
Who am I to judge? I'm the guy that
No,
didn't.
no, that would make sense. We
Who
probably
am I to
should have just.
judge?
Yeah.
So yeah, Gunnar Henderson. I guess I need to do a lot of. I should have moved Brandon Young.
This
This
we can
night.
leave Brandon Young up there. He looks good.
That at another point, but I didn't.
Trying to figure out if I need to argue about somebody else being man of the match Tuesday. I mean, I guess Rogers was fine.
He was.
I mean, he was good. Yeah,
this is the
he was
thing.
quality.
That really is the difficult part, right? I didn't even think, and he even acknowledged afterwards, he wasn't very good, and yet he was still really good, which is kind of the mark of someone who's very comfortable with their role atop a rotation right now. I didn't think he was great on opening day either, and yet he was dominant.
Mm-hmm.
So far, I don't know how good Trevor Rogers has been through 3 starts, other than they've all been quality starts, and God bless Trevor Rogers.
And they're 3-0. Yeah, like the team's 3-0.
All right, so hang on. I'll move Brandon Young in a second. Gunnar Henderson goes on the board. It's
Blaze
fine.
Alexander had a good game. He had 2 hits. Probably made a defensive play that we're forgetting about, I'm sure.
We can have that conversation. It is kind of, it's bubbling up a little
I think
bit.
you're right. I mean, yeah, I think you're right. Gunnar was the man of the match
He
Tuesday.
had to be the man of the
Yeah.
match. He had to be the man of the match. He hit the home run.
Stuck his tongue out, you know.
You could argue Taylor Ward, right? Got him back into the game, but Taylor Ward also was not very
Let him
good.
in the game, yeah, or let White Sox into the game.
Not very good in left field. But then he more than made up for it yesterday as Taylor Ward, 4 hits, 3 two-baggers. Taylor Ward, man of the match for the first time this season. So there you have it.
Thought you were gonna do Rico for maybe. Well, I guess he kind of put himself into some trouble, and
He did get into a little bit of trouble, but
he thrives. That's where he thrives.
The line to high five Rico Garcia starts with this guy. You know the way that I feel about Rico Garcia, man. I hear a rumor that he's joining the program tomorrow.
That is, I believe that is correct.
We've thought that before.
Yeah, hopefully it's not. Hopefully it doesn't suddenly drop to like 30 degrees
That would be
tomorrow.
bad
and
news for a lot of reasons. Yeah, bad news for many, many reasons. But yes, Rico Garcia is scheduled to join us tomorrow, which will be awkward because it might be an episode of the Chris Farley Show where all I say is, "That was awesome." Do you remember when you came in and the bases loaded and got
and then no run scored.
That was awesome. That just might be the way that the Rico Garcia conversation goes when we chat with him tomorrow, but I'm looking forward to that. So, yeah, Gunnar Henderson, Taylor Ward go up on the board. Man of the match brought to you by CountySports.zone. Proudly sponsored by your local Toyota dealer and buyatoyota.com. Everything you need to know about high school sports, you can find it at CountySports.zone. Couple of things. I mentioned Taylor Ward's defense, so I'll discuss that. It doesn't matter because he's more than making up for it with his bat. It still exists, and the combination of Taylor Ward and Tyler O'Neill sharing an outfield together is still not great, particularly considering that you don't really have an everyday center fielder. You have Colton Cowser, who can play center field every day, but again, is still just not a major league bat at the moment. You hope that changes. But the defense is problematic, and the lapses that, look, they swept the White Sox, and so that's all that really matters. We talked about it going into Monday. The 1-5 week that you had last week is as relevant as how you follow it up. A year ago, the Orioles fell flat and couldn't pick themselves back up. Perhaps you thank the fact that your opponent was the White Sox. That definitely has something to do with the story. Although, as we pointed out going into the series, the White Sox were coming off a sweep of the Blue Jays, so it wasn't a given. And I think that does matter in the conversation. This wasn't a given. The Orioles went and got it done. But the lapses, the stuff that just keeps happening, that we were harping about on Monday dating back to Jeremiah Jackson and not covering first base. But obviously, the adventures of Taylor Ward in left field. And that if that ball isn't hit directly to him, at this point, it would be insane for someone to not consider trying to get to second base. That's a real problem. Again, he's more than making up for it. He is more than carrying and shouldering the weight offensively. Taylor Ward has been phenomenal. But I'm not even sure that he's an outfielder. Like, it's alarming the way that he's playing these balls. Like, it was one thing, like, on opening day where you're like, all right, well, what do you got in Buxton anyway? Like, I don't know. This is almost insane. If the ball isn't right to him, he's giving up extra bases. If he has to take a path to the baseball, he is not getting there in a place where he can do anything about it. Now, is that just a limitation of Taylor Ward? Is that just him saying, I'm here to be a bat, I'm not here to be a I don't know what to make of it. I hope that it's something that can be fixed. I admittedly did not watch enough of the Los Angeles Angels because what was there to watch?
Well, if they're going to be boxing every game, maybe it would
That
be.
is true. That will make them.
It is worth watching in.
Both Soler and Lopez got 7-game suspensions, right?
But then Soler hit a home run as well. So
that's true.
Does the home run get suspended or?
I don't know. I don't know how that works. But it's bad. And then obviously the Kyle Bradish thing yesterday, and you're glad that Kyle Bradish figured it out ultimately. Like, you know, it was trending towards being another mess of a Kyle Bradish start and some like legitimate panic about a guy that you need to be at the it's certainly in the top half of your rotation. Most of us thought he could be this team's ace going into the season, and it was trending really poorly. Now, let's be fair. While he did ultimately, you know, at least go 5 innings for the first time this season, you don't get to hide behind it and say he was good yesterday. He wasn't. He gave up 9 base runners over 5 innings. I believe even Griffin can do that math.
Not good. It's a lot.
It's a 1.8 whip. That's what that is. It's 1.8.
Yeah, more, almost 2.
Yeah, almost 2. You know what?
Yeah.
You tell some people have questions about the Carroll County education system. Listen to that man right there.
Well, we like to round up. Just almost 2.
Is that the way it works in Carroll County? Is that the way they teach it? It's like
that's the way I taught myself,
up?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm listening. He wasn't good. He just could have been worse, and it looked like he was going to be worse. The thing that happened, one of the dumbest things I've ever seen on a baseball field. Not Bravo night. Griffin's still very excited about Bravo night.
That's the complete opposite of dumb.
I've seen a lot of things, man, but this is, it really is borderline unprecedented. And in a spot where it's tie game, and you had to fight back in order to tie it. Thank God this didn't end up being. Could you imagine if this is how they lost? If no one else scored yesterday and they lost 3-2.
This was the night, yeah.
Holy hell!
Courtesy of White Sox TV.
Just one of the dumbest things I've ever seen. I mean, I don't have the words. I really don't have the words for it. And you can sense that sort of what's coming out there is not just the frustration about the walk, but really just the frustration about how the start of the season has gone for Kyle Bradish, who I would assume, had the same expectation as everyone else, that this was the year that he started every fifth day and finally became the ace type of pitcher that we've all believed he's had the stuff to be. And so I think that's some of the frustration that's coming out there is I keep putting myself in these positions and I should be dominating. But
So hopefully this pisses him off, and yeah.
I hope, but it keeps coming
10
back to the stuff that I
next
talked.
week.
How does this team keep doing these things? Glad they got a sweep. May Taylor Ward hit 185 doubles this season.
So someone said, is Taylor Ward going to have more doubles than Grayson innings pitched this year?
I would, boy,
Yeah.
that's a really good no, but also maybe yes. How does this stuff keep happening? And it sounds like a dumb guy thing for me to say. It's hard for me to not think that it has to do with the first-year manager, the manager with no experience, that hasn't been able to demand accountability from this group of guys yet because they don't know him like that yet. Or he's, still trying to get to know him or trying to get them to like him. I don't know. It's unfair for me to say that because there's no world where he's saying, hey, by the way, don't worry about catching the ball, and if runners are running on the bases, that's not a big deal. Like, I know that's not true. But these lapses that were a major part of the story a year ago, they have not gone anywhere. And preaching fundamental baseball or saying that you spend time just working on fundamental baseball, it is not carrying over. It has just been gross. And it's one thing when it's a pitcher not fielding his position, and that's bitten the Orioles a couple of times, obviously. Shane Baz, it bit him. I think I saw that they just went back and...
Did they, the Anthony Nunez one?
Well, Anthony Nunez, obviously, on Saturday. But the Baz one, I think they went back and changed it again.
So I got to check my fantasy matchups.
Yeah, might have to go back and look at that. It's one thing when it's a pitcher not fielding his position. Like, there's a party that's like, okay, that not everybody's going to be Mike Messina. But this is just not mentally being present. And as much as I'm glad they got a sweep, and I know they're 6-6, and as everybody on the internet has said, there's only 3 American League teams with winning records coming in today. I don't even know who's played this afternoon. So things could definitely be worse. There's no doubt about that. But this type of stuff has to change. It has to be fixed. Period.
Oh, one of the teams that does have an above 500 record getting no hit right now.
Oh,
A's are no hitting the Yankees.
well, how about that?
Through, I guess I shouldn't have said anything.
How deep into the game?
6 1/3.
You gonna flip it over?
Yeah.
I mean, if the Yankees are gonna get no hit,
Jeffrey Springs.
I'm interested.
For the No City Athletics.
right. Aren't they wearing a jersey that says Sacramento this year?
Are they really?
Didn't I see that? I could have sworn I saw that they were wearing a
Well,
Sacramento.
speaking of jerseys.
Maybe. Oh, yeah, we can do that. We can do that. All right, go ahead.
Oh, I gotta make sure. Well, that's all the new ones. Here we go.
We're not watching the entire. I
I
love
know,
Fancy
yeah.
Clancy as much as anybody else. We're not watching the entire video. That's not going to happen.
All right. Well, we
God
can just
bless.
have the audio off. but
Clancy, you know I love you. You know you're my guy.
There you go. Courtesy of the Orioles.
Okay. City Connect 2.0.
This is just everybody happy.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I guess I could. There you go. Boom.
It's the one.
There's Basayo.
It's the jersey that was leaked a couple weeks ago. I mean,
Really? It was?
yeah.
No, I didn't.
We knew what it looked
I don't like spoilers, so I blocked it out. I muted it.
like. This is so tough, right? I think where I am with this, because everybody knows I didn't like the last City Connects. I think this is difficult. I appreciate that the Orioles are trying, when they say City Connect, they're not lying. They're not trying to make it a state connect or a region connect.
Son of a gun.
Give up
Yeah, they give up a hit.
They're trying to make it an actual city connect. They're trying to find things unique about the city. This time, uniquely, it's sort of about the stadium, right? That's the reason for the green. Of course, you all think of the green seats, the history of Baltimore baseball. Like, I get what they're trying to do. Here's the problem I have. That uniform, to me, just makes me want to say, put your real uniform on. It looks better. And I think this goes back to, somebody would say this is old man yelling at cloud.
Yes.
But what do we say every time the Packers wear anything other than their traditional uniforms?
So should we be nervous about what the Ravens are going to do, or
I understand that the Ravens don't have the history of some of these other
Sure.
franchises, right? Like, I understand that
the
part
Bears
of the reason why we feel that way about the Packers or somebody brought up to me the Giants. It's not even a complicated look, but it's just a look that we're so
Jets
familiar
even?
with.
I don't know. Whenever the Jets update their uniform, it's kind of weird. But they suck, I guess. So it's like,
yeah, is that we're so used to these looks that they just look good to us. They look right. When a team wears them, we say, "Yep, that's the one. Don't mess with it." We don't feel that way necessarily about the Jaguars. Now, I admittedly still like their old look better than I like the current.
Byron Leftwich.
I like the Prowler, Jaguar a lot better. But they don't have that type of history that it really matters. The Ravens don't either. And, of course, we know had to famously change the scheme very early on in their franchise history. But for the most part, I default to when you're not wearing your uniform, you normally don't look better. Because we associate with that. The green, I get it. I understand it. I don't need it. I'm good. I think the shame is if there's any tinkering to the uniform that we would be on board with, it would probably be related to the state flag, and the state flag doesn't represent the city connect. It doesn't work with the concept. I don't think it looks embarrassing. I don't think it looks awful. I'm just going to find myself saying every time they wear these uniforms, I'd rather you just be wearing your uniform. Because I love that one. A lot of consternation about Be More. As everyone knows, no one in Baltimore calls Baltimore Be More. It's not a thing. It's not. It's sometimes what people say that aren't from here. Oh, I'm going to go up to Be More. Nobody says that here. It would be akin to, there's irony to this, right? Like, what does everybody in Washington call Washington?
D.C.
Or
right?
the district.
Yeah.
That's what they call it. They call it D.C. or the district. Now, ironically, the teams are called Washington, so they do put it on their jerseys. But nobody down there says that. No one in Baltimore says Be More. It's not a thing.
I do kind of like the batting gloves. I just noticed the bird and the O on the batting glove. I like that.
You're not wrong. And I like the hat enough, but I didn't. The hat was not the. I kind of like the. As much as I didn't like the jerseys, I kind of like the old City Connect hat.
I didn't mind the hat either.
I just don't need new colors. The Orioles don't need more colors. We know what their colors are. They're great. We've associated them in our lives for eternity. I appreciate what they're trying to do. I appreciate the history of it. And I don't want to yuck anyone's yum. If you're into it, awesome. Awesome. They're available. Go get them. Me, when it comes to stuff like this, this is old man yelling at the cloud. I think what you normally wear looks better than this. That's my opinion. I think your colors, your uniforms, are a really good look. And they're colors and uniforms that I have worn and my kids will wear. And I just want you to wear those. That's just where I am. But that's what they're doing. I think we see it tomorrow night, correct?
Yes. They will make their debut tomorrow night.
And again, if you're into it, awesome.
And
awesome.
if you're not, I guess
all I care about is
you'll boycott and don't go to the game, right?
If
you don't like
wear
them.
the uniforms.
Yeah.
As I've said a million times before,
which they didn't do in the old ones.
If you wore the coolest looking, I mean the single greatest alternate uniform of all time, but you went 0-8 the first 8 times you wore it, you should burn them. Burn them in a fire. If you have gross looking alternate uniforms, if you were wearing the mustard pants and you won when you wore them, then keep wearing them. It ain't my thing.
What if the Orioles pull out mustard pants and
if they win every Friday night, they should wear them forever. That's the way that I feel. As Dominic Foxworth and I joked the first time we saw the new Maryland football uniforms, bro, if you're winning, you can play naked. You can wear Duke uniforms if you'd like. I don't care.
I don't know if they can wear Duke
uniforms. Winning. That's the part that matters. Come back in. We'll talk to Brad Brach. Not really about the uniforms. We'll talk to him about the Orioles. That's next.
Get his thoughts on the uniform.
Yeah, that's not what I'm going to do. He's now part of a new podcast with our friend Tim Barbalace and Steve Molesky, so we'll talk to him about that as well. We come back in. It's Glenn Clark Radio.
This is Stan the Fan. You know we talk all the time about our O's stepping up in the big moments, delivering when it matters most. If you've been injured in a car accident anywhere around Baltimore, that's your big moment, and you need someone who delivers. That's why I'm here to tell you about Warnken Injury Lawyers. They fight for Baltimore families every single day. Insurance companies play games. Warnken plays to win. So call 443-RESULTS. That's 443-RESULTS, or go to warnkenlaw.com. When you need results, it's right there in the number, 443-RESULTS.
Your car is more than just a ride. It's an investment. At Leading Edge Auto Body in Mount Washington, we've spent over 20 years perfecting the art of repair. From high-end imports to your trusted daily driver, we handle all makes and models with elite precision. Our team holds the highest honors in the industry, including ASE Master, iCar Platinum, and specialized aluminum certifications. We make it easy with free towing, pickup, and delivery, because at Leading Edge, customer satisfaction comes first. And remember, with insurance, it's your car and it's your choice. Choose the experts. Leading Edge Auto Body. Quality you can see. Service you can trust. Go to leadingedgeautobody.com today.
Hey Birdland, hit the yard on Saturday, April 11th when the O's take on the San Francisco Giants. 15,000 fans will take home a special Jackson Holiday bobblehead.
Jackson Holiday, that ball is gone.
Featuring his dog Coconut. Don't miss it. A rising star, his four-legged best friend, one must-have collectible.
Being able to come back to him after the games, he's the best.
Get your tickets at Orioles.com/tickets.
The weather's getting cooler, so when you and your family are picking out a place to dine, be it lunch or dinner, let's make it nice and easy. Now, with 2 great locations, the Costas Inn remains your #1 destination. Whether you want to get steamed crabs and the full Costas menu out at the original location at 4100 North Point Boulevard, or sample the complete menu minus the steamed crabs at the new location above the grandstand at the Timonium Racetrack, Costas is your place to go. Check out the website, CostasInn.com, for a look at the menu, and if you want to plan that crab feast, call 410-477-1975. The Costas Inn.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
The latest edition of Press Box is available now. On the cover, Dave Ginsburg chats with Hall of Famer Cal Ripken Jr. about his life now at the age of 65. his role with the Orioles ownership group, and much more. Also inside, Bill Ordine helps us learn more about new Ravens head coach Jesse Minter. Luke Jackson finds out about new Orioles slugger Pete Alonso from those who have played with him, and we meet college lacrosse players from programs all across the area. Pressbox is available for free at over 250 locations throughout the region, including your Baltimore area High's Dairy stores. Plus, you can read the entire issue online at PressBoxOnline.com, where you can also find great betting advice and the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps.
Contrary to what some people believe, I actually like this guy when he sleeps. Glenn Clark, talking sports.
John in Little Rock trying to suggest that he's used the phrase be more a lot. Then you're the guy. Congratulations, John. It is not a thing locally. It is just not. Nobody says be more. It's not a thing. And Andrew, I'm aware they're not the Maryland Orioles, but the flag is just so beloved here that we would like the flag on anything. That's just sort of the way that we operate. But I acknowledge this is the City Connect and the opportunity to try to connect with the city. Although, ironically, I think I saw that the Braves City Connect uniforms are somehow supposed to be, which actually look great, by the way, are supposed to be a reflection of, like, all of the 6 states that make up the Braves territorial region. So I'm not even sure what City Connect means necessarily, but I appreciate the Orioles try to use it to connect with the city and not necessarily the region. I do appreciate that. All right, let's talk about the baseball. Orioles are coming off a sweep over the White Sox. They now head home to take on the Giants. And our next guest is now talking regularly about the Orioles because he has a new podcast that's part of the Foul Territory Network. He is Brad Brach, and he is with us once again here on GCR. Brad, it's Glenn. It's great to chat with you, man. Thank you so much for taking the time for us.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Hey, man, tell me about Birdland Territory.
Yeah, it's just a podcast with Steve Molesky and Tim Barbalace, and just kind of came together on a whim. They got reached out to by Foul Territory, and thought it was a great opportunity to talk some Orioles baseball. And it was, it's a great opportunity for me to continue to kind of cheer Orioles fans on and get to watch some baseball with my kids, so it was an opportunity I couldn't pass up.
So I wanted to ask about, like, are your kids primarily Orioles fans? Like, you have connected with multiple teams in your career, but are you primarily identifying with the Orioles?
I'm trying anything to get them to watch baseball, so this is a great opportunity to do that. So, growing up in New Jersey, I grew up a Met fan, but I think playing for an organization sometimes of the team you grew up with, it kind of just it loses its luster a little bit, I guess. I don't really know if that's the way to put it, but it's just I have so much, gratitude towards the Orioles organization. They give me multiple opportunities on the pitching side and then doing the TV side of things. So it was a great way to give back to the community, and I hope I can give insight to the Orioles fans that maybe they normally can't get.
That's awesome, man. Again, it's Birdland Territory. It's part of the Foul Territory Network with Brad and Tim Barbalace and Steve Molesky. You can find it wherever you get your podcasts, and I think it's awesome that you're doing that, Brad, and they are very lucky to have you. Let's talk about what we've seen so far to this point. Obviously, a great week, or a great last 3 days anyway for the Orioles, and righting the ship, getting back to 500 with the weekday sweep of Chicago. But man, Brad, I'm trying to figure out, because I think it was one of the frustrations that Orioles fans dealt with a year ago. Some of these just sort of lapses that we see, particularly defensively, and we're seeing them again this year, whether it was opening day with Taylor Ward throwing the ball back in, or playing what should have been a single into extra bases the other night. Obviously, the thing with Kyle Bradish yesterday. I'm glad they're winning the games. It's good to be 6-6 and to wipe the taste of your mouth. But how do they get out of this where you just constantly seem to be seeing these sort of mental lapses defensively in particular?
Yeah, I think the ones that are most frustrating are the ones, like you said, like dropping the ball back from the catcher and causing a run. A lot of times it doesn't hurt you like that, but in a tied game, Kyle Bradish will be the first one to tell you that that's inexcusable and can't happen. So you just got to hope those mistakes will go by the wayside. Their defense coming into the season was one of those things that was probably worrisome for most fans and for the organization alike. So you just got to hope that they get better as the season goes along. I think last series they played a much better defensive series than they did, obviously, the series before that. You just got to hope that they continue to get better. And when you come up with a team there's always going to be one thing that you know is probably not going to be a strength. And this might not be their strength, but you hope it's not the thing that ends up causing them games down the line. And that's really the way I kind of look at it, is like, just don't let it be the thing that costs you games when it comes down, to these big spots at the end of the season. So you just got to hope they continue to get better as the season goes along. That's just a player's perspective. There's obviously other ways to look at it, but I just got to always kind of see the rosy side of things and hopes that the plays that we saw in Pittsburgh aren't going to continue happening all the time.
Talking about defense, going into the season, I think a lot of us were willing to accept that perhaps third base defense might be a bit of an issue, but we wanted to see Kobe Mayo play every day with Jordan Westberg sidelined. We wanted to see him get the bat going and see if he might really develop into that legitimate power hitter at the major league level that we all believe he's capable of being. And while the defense actually has been, pretty good from Kobe Mayo at third base, he's not hitting the ball. And if Jackson Holliday is getting closer to returning, I feel like a lot of us are watching Blaze Alexander and saying, yeah, that's a little bit of a different profile than what you have through most of your lineup. I'd kind of like to keep that profile in there. If Jackson Holliday is back in the next week or so, should they be sticking it out with Kobe Mayo at third base, or do you need to have Blaze Alexander and what he brings to the table in your lineup more frequently?
Yeah, I feel like it's almost like a two-part thing. I understand what you're saying with Kobe Mayo. The guy is still so young. That's my only thing with it all. It's like you got to, at some point, decide this guy's a major leaguer and he's going to give us whatever he gives us, or we find out that he's not what we want and we kind of move on. But I have to agree with Blaze Alexander's play. The last week or so, it's been incredible. He gives you those plays at third base, and he just has a way to get on base, it seems to be right now at this point. I don't know if that's something they expected from him. And I just think the way he's been playing, it's definitely a discussion to have. And I would just hate to see Mayo get sent down again. But at the end of the day, you're trying to win games, and you got to put the best infield you have out there. And like you said, with Jackson Holliday coming back, Blaze Alexander, to me, at this point, has proven that he needs to be out there on an everyday basis. And they found a place to put him out there. So whether it's second base, third base, shortstop, he's been out there every single game, and he's giving you exactly and more that you could possibly expect from him so far in this part of the season.
And he offers just a little bit more of something on the base paths and offers just a little bit more. I don't know, Brad, it's not like you don't have anybody that can do things like that, but, you can't have nothing but home run hitters in your lineup, right?
Yeah, no, you're right. And like you're saying with the home run, this lineup is built around the home run, and we haven't seen that so far this year. So the 6-6 starts, you got to kind of take that at this point, but I agree with you. He does stuff that nobody else in this lineup they expected to do. So maybe it's an X factor there that it's just funny to me that they got him right before the injuries to Westberg and Holliday. And what a factor he's been so far in the 12 games. The couple of plays he's made, there's not a guy on the roster that can make those plays. And it's been awesome to watch. And I love seeing guys get an opportunity and run with it. I just think there's something to that. And seeing him do what he's done so far has been really a bright spot for this team.
Former Oriole Brad Brach with us here on GCR. Brad, obviously, your expertise area is the bullpen, and my God, I could not be more enamored with Rico Garcia right now. It's everything. It's that he gets the job done when he gets a clean inning. It's that he gets the job done when he gets himself into trouble. But obviously, I think the thing that has been most impressive is the work that he does when someone else gets into trouble and he comes in to get them out of trouble. How enamored have you been with what you've seen from Rico Garcia? How legitimate, I think coming into the year, a lot of us said, well, we saw it in doses last year, but the games didn't matter all that much. How much should we buy in that the Orioles have a legitimate back-end answer in Rico Garcia?
I mean, to this point, I feel like it's real. I mean, you almost felt like if he was going to show his cards to say, yesterday was the day it was going to happen. He starts the inning off with 7 straight balls, walks the leadoff guy with a 2-run lead, which are 2 of the biggest no-nos you can have as closers in the game, and he goes out and gets the job done. So to me, he's been put in these high leverage spots, and the bullpen is this fluctuating thing that managers try their best to figure out. But so far to this point in the season, I am so impressed by him. The changeups he was throwing into the lefties yesterday, I kind of mentioned in our podcast yesterday, that is the one pitch you never throw to the lefty, is a changeup in, because it's the one ball they're looking to drive. And he threw like 2 or 3 for the strikeout there to the big lefty they have with the White Sox, and it was really impressive. He's just showing that he's confident with this stuff right now, and that's somebody you got to run out there until, you know, the magic, or maybe he's a guy and you just don't know to this point because he hasn't had enough opportunities to kind of prove it. So to me, I love seeing guys like that step up, and I love seeing the bullpen pitch the way they have so far this year.
Man, it's been unbelievable. It's been unbelievable to watch that dude right now.
Yeah, it has.
The on the flip side, in the rotation, what have you made? You know, obviously we bring up just the complete mental lapse yesterday, but I think a lot of us believe coming into this year that this was going to be the year that Kyle Bradish, if he could, you know, pitch for a full season, he was ready to ascend to being one of the best pitchers in the American League, which when he has been healthy, he's pitched like that type of guy, obviously in short stints the last couple of years. What have you made of the struggles? My gut tells me that's part of why what happened yesterday happened, is it seems like it wasn't just a frustration about the walk. It felt like it was more of a frustration about just how things have been going. What do you make of it, and why early on, it's still a small sample size of 3 starts, maybe Kyle Bradish hasn't been the top of the rotation guy that we believed him to be capable of?
Yeah, I think the key term is it's so early on, and I just think I was thinking about this yesterday because I know the expectation of the fan base, and I know what people expect, probably even in the organization and on the team, is that there's no denying Kyle Bradish, when he is on, is one of the best pitchers in the American League. And I just think he didn't have a really long track record before he got hurt, and I just think it's just him finding his confidence and finding that swagger he had before when he was one of the most dominant pitchers. I remember doing the games for MASN a few years ago, just thinking, like, where has this guy been and how has nobody had him in the top of the rotation? So I think it's got to take a little bit of time. You have to understand, coming back from Tommy John is probably more mental than anything else. Just being able to trust the stuff and kind of going out there, because there's stretches in games where you're like, okay, there's the Kyle Bradish that we know. So I don't think it's far. It's just, I think once he gets, yesterday I think it was big. I know he let up that run in the 5th inning, but he got through 5. And I think that's kind of a mental hurdle. Get over 5, now next to 6, and then 7. You just never know what can go from there. So I like holding off judgment of guys coming off Tommy John, because to me, I always thought them coming off an injury like that, it's more mental than physical, and it's kind of just getting back to trusting who you were before the injury. And I think it's just talking to guys I play with and stuff like that. It's kind of just really them trusting themselves that, like, okay, I am fully fine. It's not, the injury's not there anymore. I feel 100%. Now it's time to let it go. And I think he's just going to get better the more the season goes along. And that's just, you know, playing with guys who have had that surgery before. But like I said, I think the lack of track record before the injury and having the big year that he had a few years ago is kind of one of those things that is always on the top of people's minds. But you just got to hope come, you know, May, June, he's that guy that everyone's kind of expecting at the top of the rotation.
I feel, obviously, the bad news this week is Zach Eflin is going to have, speaking of Tommy John, he's going to have Tommy John. So his season is over essentially before it ever began. The Orioles are going to turn to Cade Povich again this weekend, and we all think that at some point that spot will belong to Dean Kramer again. Are you confident that they have enough starting pitching without Zach Eflin? And I guess the second part is, there was a world where we were, you know, maybe thinking that there could be an upside with Zach Eflin. We remember how he pitched in the second half of 2024, that maybe he could have been a higher-end rotation guy. Are you confident they have enough frontline starting pitching, knowing that Zach Eflin's not going to be able to help in that department?
Yeah, you know, first of all, it sucks. There's no other way to put it for Zach Eflin. You know, the guy, you know, a lot of people want to say, like, oh, he got hurt again and this stuff, but guys work so hard to come back from injuries, and then to have another one happen on top, it just, you feel bad for him at that point. But to your original point, I think they do. I remember calling Cade Povich's first game in Toronto when he made the start a couple years ago, and I was really impressed. I mean, he doesn't have this electric stuff, doesn't have this eye-popping, I guess, aesthetics when you're watching the game, but the guy knows how to pitch, and he really impressed me with his first start. And then I just think it takes time. I think as starters, it just takes a little bit of time, and you never know when the maturity is going to come. You just hope it's with the team you're with. And I really think he's at that point where he can make the next step forward. And then Brandon Young the other night, amazing start for him too. And I've been really impressed in the few games I've got to watch him. I think there's enough depth to get through the season. And I think it's not by accident that they have these guys in AAA that are able to step in these spots when they need it. I think they kind of knew injuries are going to pop up, especially in the new age of baseball. Like, a starter is going to get hurt at some point. There has to be other guys that can step up. So I think there's enough guys between Kramer, between Povich, and between Young that you can get enough starts out of those guys to make up for Zach Eflin. If nothing else, they can make the starts and get through 5 or 6 innings and give you at least a chance to win. So it's definitely it hurts losing Eflin, but at the same time, I think there's enough there to make up for it.
I think what you just said, like, I do believe that they've got enough arms, like, that they're going to be okay. But I still, like, if they're going to try to compete to win this division and make a run, my gut still kind of tells me, Brad, that they're going to have to look for another dude, like another game changer as far as starting pitchers are concerned come July.
Yeah, and I think that's definitely a possibility also. I love the top 3 guys in their rotation right now. I think those 3 are all, when they go out there, you kind of expect to win those games. We obviously know that doesn't work over a 162-game season every time, but I love having those 3 guys. And then, the bottom 2, you got to hope one guy steps up. And then, like you're saying, if come July, you're in the mix and you need to make a move, you have guys you can trade. You hate to look at it that way when you're setting up a roster, but if you're the GM, if you're in the front office, there's guys that teams might be interested in the long run. So I agree with you. I think one more arm would definitely make you feel a little bit more comfortable, but I'm interested to see how these young guys kind of step up and see if Dean Kramer comes back from AAA on a mission. You would hope that being sent down there is a little bit of a wake-up call that nobody likes to get in the major leagues, but it can happen to anybody, and he's a perfect example of that. So I have high hopes for him whenever, because at some point he's going to get called up. So you just kind of hope when he comes back he's on a mission and kind of shows the Dean Kramer that everybody comes to expect when he takes them out.
Brad Brach, again, Birdland Territory is the show. You can find it wherever you get your podcasts. And you guys are going 3 times a week, correct?
Yeah, 3 times a week we'll be on there. So you want to talk some in-depth Orioles, we got guys who've been around it a long time, and then I'm just kind of throwing in my bits and pieces here or there. Hopefully it works alongside with those guys, but it's been good so far, and we're excited to get a season-long worth of shows with it.
I think it's awesome,
this new
man.
podcast.
I think it's really cool. And are we going to be seeing you back on TV at some point?
I hope so. I'm kind of hoping, you got to sometimes when you get out of it, they kind of forget you. So I'm hoping, I'll be involved way more this year, so I'm hoping to get back on there. I really enjoyed that. There's nothing better than being at the ballpark and getting to sit there and give your insight on your experiences throughout your time playing. So I'm hoping to get on there again.
That's awesome, man. Brad, congratulations. Enjoying it so far. Looking forward to hearing more. Thank you for taking the time for us. We'd love to do it again soon, all right?
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Brad. Brad Brach, former Orioles reliever, all-star, and now part of Birdland Territory with the Foul Territory Network. Our buddy Tim Barbalace and Steve Molesky, who's been covering the Orioles for, I believe, forever. So appreciate Brad joining us this morning. Are you okay?
Maybe not. I don't know.
What is going on?
I don't know. I just got attacked. That was all.
What just happened? I was very nervous that, I had to.
Oh, like I was going to die? No, I don't know. No, I'm okay.
There was a moment where I'm like.
Yeah, apparently I got a cough, I guess.
Am I going to have to tell Brad Brach, hey, bud, this is fun and all, but my partner over there is dying. So enjoy your day.
I'm in better shape now than I was 5 minutes ago. But
I don't know how much people
sorry
caught
about
on
that.
the video,
I'm sorry about
or
that.
if they could hear it in the background.
It
was outrageous. I legitimately was worried that you were choking at one point, but then I was like, well, if he's drinking water, I don't think that can be it.
Yeah.
And then I was like, do I know the Heimlich maneuver? I kind of know. I'm definitely not CPR certified, which I'm sorry. I regret. I remember, when the kids came along, my wife and I were like, we're going to go get CPR certified. We're going to be – and then
you never did it once.
We just didn't happen on that list. So
all right. Well, at least I know not to –
be
extra careful.
I guess we could make out and see if that works.
Nah, well, maybe it would. I don't know. Yeah.
I guess I could try if that was necessary. I could pop in one of these delicious Dr. Pepper Tic Tacs and see if maybe
are they delicious?
They're fine. I just don't understand the point. They do taste like Dr. Pepper. I give them credit.
Trying to get people to buy Tic Tacs, I guess.
I just don't. I don't want to give away. That's on Rita and Glenn this week. New episode available wherever you get your.
Okay, so you're not going to tell me. Got it.
YouTube.com/@Rita and Glenn. The scores are up at GlennClarkRadio.com. I did post. I'm into it for this week.
So I got to go to Twitter and search.
I know you hate that when I ask for one click, just one. That's all I want from you. Here, but you can try these. I got a whole nother.
I don't know. Maybe it's not right. Not at this moment.
You're afraid you're going to choke again? God, this is what we have going for us. I promise, if I have to try to give you mouth-to-mouth, I'll pop in a Dr. Pepper Tic Tac first.
Thank you.
If that is what this requires in order to save you, then I will.
Sorry about that. Yeah.
That was concerning. That was concerning. Yeah, we didn't actually talk about Zach Eflin, and I apologize for that, as Griffin got me caught up on the City Connects.
Not my fault.
It sucks. It sucks. There's no way around it. And the Orioles right now are doing the thing that I kind of thought they were going to do. They're not going to push up their starters. They are going to use the fifth starter on Sunday, but they have announced that it'll be Povich, who has not pitched since this past Sunday. So he will have had 7 days rest, and obviously was stretched out because he got a lot of work on Sunday. That's fine, and it might very well be like you're not really auditioning for the job, because if it was an audition, then presumably Brandon Young would have nailed down the job, right? Like, he was really good. It seems more like it's just a let's get through right now. Is it odd that they're not just putting Dean Kramer back in the rotation? I don't know. I still think that it's sooner than later that Dean Kramer is the fifth starter. I don't think this is their way of saying, like, he's got to go dominate AAA for a while before we reconsider it. I think it's just a timing thing.
Because once they call him up, I assume they're going to want to keep him there, like, probably permanently, right?
But, I mean, like, he obviously, he's got the – like, it's once you've used the option for the year, it's not like it costs you another option. Like, he's been optioned, so he could go back. I do, to your point, I think that once he's in, he's in. So I don't know.
They're just waiting for the right.
Like, they would just say, we needed a starter on Sunday. Cade Povich is available. We didn't have to use him in Chicago. We don't have to put anybody else on the roster. It makes sense for us. So they would say it's not really about Dean Kramer. It's just about, we needed a starter for Sunday. We got a starter for Sunday. Okay. If Cade Povich goes out and pitches great, and they say, hey, we need another starter next Friday, it's going to be Povich again? Okay. Like, it's a weird vibe, because I feel like I want to solve for Dean Kramer, whereas they're going to say, look, we just want to solve for starting fifth starter. And at the moment, it's Povich. I assume Kramer pitched again this week.
Yeah, he did. He pitched either, was it yesterday or Tuesday? He did already pitch this week, though.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Kramer.
Yesterday went 4 2/3, no runs, 5 hits, no walks, 6 strikeouts.
Okay.
In Norfolk last night.
So maybe they're thinking about a 6-man next week when they don't have an off day. Maybe that's something they're considering, is that they still don't want to do normal rest for Bradish and perhaps specifically Rogers. So that could be part of this consideration, is we want Dean Kramer to start next week. We just don't want it to be Sunday. We want it to be, after the next time. Maybe it would be
just proof of life for Dean Kramer.
Monday. There you go.
Yeah. Strikeout.
They just don't want Rogers and Bradish on normal rest right now. They want those guys pitching every 6th day as much as they possibly can. And they're looking at spots on the calendar, and it's going to be Kramer, but right now they're pitching. Povich is really the 6th man, not Kramer, right? Like, that might be the way that they would be saying it. Povich is here, so we'll pitch him on Sunday, and then we'll have those guys on on 6 days rest for next week, and then on the 6th day, so that would be that would be Friday. Then we'll have Kramer throw. And then have Povich again next Saturday, and I haven't looked at the following week to know if there's an off day the following week. I assume there is.
Thursday the 23rd will be the next.
Okay, so that's we were talking about 11 days, 11 straight days.
No, it'll be 13 straight days.
Yeah, you're right. 13 straight days with games. So there could be some sense to it's early in the season. We're just going to try to have a 6-man for this stretch of games. That would make some sense. And Kramer could very well factor into that and make 2 starts during that time period. When we come back in, actually, we don't need to take a break. Why don't we do this? Had to do this a little bit earlier because of his schedule. But we're going to talk some lacrosse here on GCR. Today's show is brought to you by the Stan the Fan Variety Hour. If you missed Stan, Ross, and Luke, every Monday they're getting together to talk baseball. Facebook.com/PressBoxSports. It's brought to you by Warnken Law, as well as the Costas Inn, with 2 great locations in Timonium and in Dundalk. Maryland lacrosse got a very good overtime win over Ohio State on Saturday, and we had the opportunity to chat with midfielder Eric Spanos about that. Let's take a listen right now here on GCR.
And joined now here on GCR by the man who just had the game-winning assist as Maryland got an overtime win over Ohio State last week. He is climbing a lot of the record books at the University of Maryland. He is Eric Spanos, and he's with us now here on GCR. Eric, it's Glenn. It's good to chat with you. Thank you for taking the time for us.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. It's super awesome to get to do this.
Hey, man, take me through. You know, you're in that break situation. You know it's a pole that's in front of the goal, right? Like, are you completely confident? Like, I know I can make this pass. It's happening. Is there any part of you that says, like, maybe I need to be the one? Like, walk me through the whole thought process.
Yeah, so it was kind of crazy. When I got the ball over the midline, we started our possession, threw it down, and then I got the ball right back. And I noticed, like, 2 or 3 guys kind of like ran out to me, and I saw my buddy Riley just standing there, and I was like, kind of no-brainer. I trust him fully. I trust all of the guys on the team fully to, catch that ball and finish it. So just something we've worked on in practice. Like, we've had that come up a few times, so I knew Riley was ready. And if there was a guy I wanted scoring that goal, it was him. He's put a lot into this, and he's just been so humble throughout it. So it was pretty awesome.
You know, what you just said there really jumped out at me, because obviously you guys are going to celebrate an overtime game winner no matter who it was, right?
Yeah.
But the idea that it was him, I think everybody knows all of his connections, how much Maryland means to him. Like, what did it mean for everybody for him to be able to have that moment?
Oh, yeah. I mean, everyone was just going crazy. That place, I'll remember that game and that moment for the rest of my life. Just seeing everyone, get out of their seats, everyone rushing the field. It was pretty awesome. And just for it to be Riley, it was even cooler. Just knowing what he's been through. He's been through, several knee injuries, and he's overcame it stronger every time. And like you said, with his mom, Coach Reese here, his dad, Terp legend, younger brother here, it's just so awesome that, it was him that got that goal.
Oh, it's incredible, man. Eric, I wonder, too, the fact that you guys have now done this twice in overtime, right? Like, we know there were some tough ones that were in close games this season, obviously against really good teams.
Yeah.
Is it more meaningful to have now had a couple of these that you had to battle like this? And do you feel like there's going to be something that really pays off for you now moving towards May because you've had to go through a couple like these that you had to grind out and win this way?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think it's very important that we've had some experiences like this because, as much as you want to win games by, 6 to 8 goals every time you play, it's just not super realistic, right? So, I mean, the more experiences we live before May, it just really helps us, and it's something that we can always fall back on our training. So,
what did you guys learn from that stretch? And again, really good teams, right? Like, this wasn't like you were getting your butts kicked by teams that you shouldn't have been losing to. But what did you guys learn during that stretch that you feel like is going to continue to pay off for this team, again, moving towards Memorial Day?
Yeah, like one thing we kind of learned was just that it was going to be really hard. I mean, just there's so many talented teams this year, and we definitely saw that. We ran into some good teams, and so like we knew it was going to be very hard, but we knew we never lost faith in our team. We never lost faith in our group. We have such a great group of people, whether it's staff, coaches, players. And so we knew everything we had was right there. It was more so just, working together to like be our best collectively. And so throughout that little stretch, we were able to do that. We were able to just, put our nose down and just keep working in practice to be our best.
Maryland continues at home. Big one against Rutgers on Saturday night, 6 o'clock. Eric Spanos is with us here on GCR. Eric, is there more of a sense of urgency, right? Like that, I think it's a foregone conclusion to a lot of people. Maryland obviously is in the NCAA tournament, but it's really tough. And when you do take a couple of losses, nothing is guaranteed. Did it create more of a sense of urgency for your entire group? Like, hey, we can't really lose games now moving forward because nothing is guaranteed at this point.
Yeah, honestly, one thing that we've kind of been doing around here, and our coaches have done a great job of it, especially Coach Tillman, just focusing on the next practice, and eventually this practice is leading to the next game, and not looking down the road, not getting focused on anything that's out of our control further down the road. Just worrying about, all right, we have Wednesday practice today, and then tomorrow we have Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday we get to roll out there and play someone else. So we're kind of just taking it, like day by day, just working to be our best in that aspect and just getting ready for the next game one at a time.
What does it feel like to score 8 goals in a game? Like what is the moment where you're like, oh, holy crap, I can't miss? Like how does that happen?
Yeah, so I mean, I give a lot of that credit to my teammates and the scout team that whole entire week. They did such a great job getting me ready, and Kyle Eggebretten was guarding me all week, and that kid's one heck of a player. He was giving me fits all week, so he got me ready for the game especially. And Tyler Correa, our backup goalie, he did a great job in net, simulating what Michigan's goalie could look like. And a lot of my teammates just also in the game put me in great spots to succeed. They were, finding me off ball, finding me in good spots, setting good picks for me. So I give a lot of credit to my teammate and my coaches and everyone that was involved with that. They definitely helped me get there.
Do you ever like when that's going on? Do you almost chuckle a little bit? Like, is there a part of you that can't believe you're having a day like that?
I mean, it's kind of hard to take a step back when you're in the heat of the moment, just because all you want to do is just go. So, I mean, it's definitely kind of just like going the flow of, if it's my turn, it's my turn. If it's someone else's, it's someone else's, and I'll be that happy regardless of who it is. So, yeah.
What is this year meant to you, right? Like now that you're at the end, now that everything that you've put in over 5 years at Maryland and all of the incredible success and the disappointment that you've experienced during that, what is this year meant to you? Do you find yourself trying to stop and smell the flowers a little bit and appreciate all of, maybe the grind that perhaps has been annoying to you at other times during the course of your career?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. Since it's, my last year, and unfortunately, I'm going to be forced to leave this place. It's not going to be my choice, but yeah, I mean, I'm definitely just trying to, kind of be where my feet are. And I like to kind of live by saying, like, be here now. It's one of my buddies saying, his father saying from high school, and it's just something that I've really, like, kind of grown accustomed to. And I think that's something I've brought into my 5th year, is just be here now. So be where my feet are, just be here on this Wednesday, be here on Thursday tomorrow, and just kind of doing that. And just, especially with this season, it's been hard, which is awesome in my opinion. It just, grows us closer together. It makes us really appreciate, the little things, and it makes us also focus on the little things. So it's definitely been awesome, and just trying to, be where my feet are. So
that's cool, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Obviously you guys are playing a team that wanted to play a certain style in Ohio State, and, maybe one of the best goalies in the country on Saturday. But is there still a conversation about, like, hey, we might need to carry more of our end of the bargain offensively if we're going to be that team that makes that run, that march to Memorial Day weekend?
Yeah, our offensive group is definitely a humble and hungry group. So, if we put up 20 goals, we think we can put up 30. So that's just kind of how we are. That's how we're coached. And so we definitely think we can do more, and we know we can do more. So that's definitely something we're focusing on.
Yeah, I figured that would probably be the case.
Yeah.
I know it's the other side of the ball, but like, do you think that maybe Jesse retired because he doesn't want to have to go up against you in the PLL? Do you think that might have something to do with it?
I have no idea, but coach has had such a great career, so it's super cool to kind of see him put a cap on it.
Have you started thinking about that at all? Like how cool that's going to be for you, that opportunity that appears like it's going to be coming your way in a few weeks here?
Yeah, I mean, if I get the opportunity, I would love to play. It'd be a dream come true, and it's definitely something I do want to do. But definitely, I would be super fortunate and grateful to get that opportunity.
I appreciate that, man. I think there's no doubt that opportunity is going to be coming your way. Before that, clearly some very big games. A lot at stake, and hoping to close it out the right way, winning championships down the stretch.
Yeah.
Eric Spanos, where can Maryland fans be giving you a follow on social media, on Twitter, Instagram, anything like that?
Yeah, I have Instagram. That's about all I'm really on nowadays. I'm not too active on that, so.
I feel like that's a common thing with your group, right? Like, I don't know if it's just sort of like what Tills is looking for, but it just sort of feels like it's a group of guys that like we'll let our play do our talking for them.
Yeah, it's also we just all we have is all we need, so we don't need any of the outside stuff.
I appreciate that.
No, capable of. So,
Eric, congratulations on an amazing career to this point, and look forward to seeing how it closes out for you. Really appreciate taking a few minutes for us. Thanks so much for doing this.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it.
It's Eric Spanos from Maryland after they got that gutty win over Ohio State. Been trying to do kind of a catch-up on local lacrosse this week. We had Max Watkinson on Monday, Eric today, and then I believe tomorrow Matt Nyland, the starting goalie at Towson, is going to join us, as it maybe hasn't been a year where like they're all in the top 5 in the country, but all of a sudden last couple of weeks have been pretty good for local lacrosse teams. Loyola back in the top 20 this week. Obviously, Towson in the top 20, Hopkins and Maryland, so all of them ranked. And Navy's got Army this week. If they were to win that, I think they are very squarely in the picture to win the Patriot League as well. So trying to just get caught up in lacrosse with college hoop season having wound down. All right. A couple of things. So I haven't been monitoring the day-to-day of who Maryland is chasing in the transfer portal. I had somebody ask me about that. I think it was Dennis. I'm sorry, Dennis. I've been working these other shows, and so I haven't. To my knowledge, they have not yet landed any transfer commitments.
Not that I've seen either. Yeah.
So that's part of it. As players start getting added to the roster, I also don't know if there are I do know, and I think Jeff Ehrman wrote about it. At some point there was talk. Did Rodney Rice end up back in the transfer portal?
Good question.
I feel like there was talk that maybe Rodney Rice was going to, who I think was hurt.
Yeah, he got hurt. He was
much of the year at USC. Right.
He was looking really good, and then got hurt in
I could have
November,
sworn
early
that
December.
I heard. And I don't know if it was Jeff
shut
reporting
down.
it or if it was just somebody in my Maryland circle like telling me that there could be a world where maybe Rodney Rice was back as a target for Maryland in the portal and could somehow end up back at Maryland, which is wild to me. Like these, and I know we're going to see more of these stories.
Yeah.
It's still just wild to me. But we see it in pro sports all the time where you can bring someone back. That occurs. That happens. But we're just not used to it at the college level, the idea of it coming full circle. I don't even know if Rodney Rice ended up in the portal.
I believe everyone's talking like he is in the portal.
I mean, look, everybody's in the portal, so to be fair.
It's educated. It's not a bad guess.
That's the way it works. Everybody goes in.
I mean, I don't see anything with like actual legs anywhere. At least no official reporting about.
So,
yeah. Apparently, according to his Instagram story back on March 12th, he was in College Park for who knows why.
Yeah, presumably he still knows folks here.
Yeah,
still has people that. That's very interesting. I don't
posted on his Instagram story, and he was in College Park, Maryland. So
okay.
So who knows?
All right, man.
But that was a month ago. So
all right,
yeah,
all right. Who knows? But we will monitor it, and as targets become more definite, we'll definitely and look, Patrick, as they land transfer portal guys, Patrick will definitely be able to talk about all of those guys because he knows every player at every school all over the country. When we come back in, we're going to talk some Ravens and NFL draft. Our buddy Gordon McGuinness, you know him, has been with PFF for a long time. He was caught in the shakeup at PFF, and so this gives us an excuse to also plug what he's doing now and to let him explain it to you, as well as just to talk about the draft with him. And that's what we call a win-win. Gordon McGuinness joins us next. It is Glenn Clark Radio.
Hey, Birdland, hit the yard on Saturday, April 11th, when the O's take on the San Francisco Giants. 15,000 fans will take home a special Jackson Holiday bobblehead.
Jackson Holiday, that ball is gone.
Featuring his dog, Coconut. Don't miss it. A rising star, his four-legged best friend, one must-have collectible.
Being able to come back to him after the games, he's the best.
Get your tickets at Orioles.com/tickets.
Your car is more than just a ride. It's an investment. At Leading Edge Auto Body in Mount Washington, we've spent over 20 years perfecting the art of repair. From high-end imports to your trusted daily driver, we handle all makes and models with elite precision. Our team holds the highest honors in the industry, including ASE Master, iCar Platinum, and specialized aluminum certifications. We make it easy with free towing, pickup, and delivery because at Leading Edge, customer satisfaction comes first. And remember, with insurance, it's your car and it's your choice. Choose the experts. Leading Edge Auto Body. Quality you can see. Service you can trust. Go to leadingedgeautobody.com today.
The weather's getting cooler, so when you and your family are picking out a place to dine, be it lunch or dinner, let's make it nice and easy. Now, with two great locations, the Costas Inn remains your #1 destination. Whether you want to get steamed crabs and the full Costas menu out at the original location at 4100 North Point Boulevard, or sample the complete menu minus the steamed crabs at the new location above the grandstand at the Timonium Racetrack, Costas is your place to go. Check out the website, CostasInn.com, for a look at the menu, and if you want to plan that crab feast, call 410-477-1975. The Costas Inn.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
This is Byron Warnken. If you've been injured in Maryland, you know you need a great lawyer. Look no further than us, Warnken LLC. You've seen my picture on billboards around town. You've seen me on TV. Now I'm lucky enough to get to be here with Stan. Please give us a call. 443-RESULTS. It is not just a phone number, it's a mission. 443-RESULTS. Or visit us online at warnkenlaw.com. That's WARNKENLAW.com.
Make the most out of every day in your Toyota RAV4. Available in hybrid or gas-only models. A RAV4 can get you where you want to go in style. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new RAV4s from your local Toyota dealer today.
Coming back in here with Glenn and the other guy, Garrett, whatever his name is. You know who they are.
All right, back in here on GCR as we continue along on a Thursday edition of the program. From Ryan. Ryan says, Glenn, are you really not going to talk about the... Yeah, I'm not going to talk about Iran. I'm not going to... Yes, I get it. Thank you for listening over on WBL today. I appreciate that. That's very nice of you, Ryan. But no, I would prefer to... this is going to be, I think, a church and state. Although we did talk about... There was a story that we talked about on BAL today. There is a House bill. I'm not going to remember what the House bill is. Damn it. I'm doing way too much right now. House Bill 518.
Oh, that
it's
one.
It's notable because it targets more restrictions on sports betting here in the state of Maryland.
Interesting.
House Bill 518 includes a ban on certain prop bets, specifically targeting college player prop wagers. Under the bill, sportsbooks would no longer be permitted to offer betting markets tied to individual college athletes. And we've seen...
Yeah, in Maryland, they don't do... I don't think they have that Like already they don't have that.
There's some books that don't.
Is it like it like in person or something you're allowed to?
I'm not sure exactly which ones can and which ones can't, but it is not banned. Just certain books don't offer them.
Gotcha.
This would make it so that no books could.
Got it.
Like,
Because I know in like Illinois or maybe Indiana or something, you can bet on college basketball, rebounds and for.
Well, I know that
like
I bet on first basket when we did the national championship game at the casino. Is that Carolina? When was Kansas? When did Kansas win the national title most recently?
22.
Was that it?
Yeah.
Was that long ago?
Yeah,
really?
I think so.
Was it really that long ago?
Who won in 23?
Was that UConn 23 and
yeah, UConn
24 and Florida 25?
Yeah, so Kansas 22.
Maybe it was one of the UConn years. I definitely bet first basket. I 100% bet first basket in that game. And won.
You got it? Oh, wow.
Yes.
Look at this guy.
100%. Bet first basket and won. So which year it was, they all kind of blend together. But I definitely won on betting
Carolina
the first
played
basket.
Kansas that year.
I definitely bet
that
that
game.
one.
So it was 22.
That one. I might have done it again one of the UConn years. Because I remember...
Because you're like, I'm hot.
Yeah. I remember... of all the random things, Ben Hall, who works over at 105.7, Ben Hall was just there hanging out, watching the game in the sports and social that year, and he had bet Purdue to win the title, and I was like, really? And I was worried because he knows he's a betting person,
right? So he knows what he's doing.
I was concerned because I had some action on.
Looks
UConn.
like it was David McCormick had the first shot of the game. First made. Wait, no, not him. O'Shea Abachi.
Yes, 100% he did. And I definitely won money.
Knocked down
definitely,
a 3.
and I might have even convinced like John Colson or somebody to go bet money on it too. Like I'm pretty sure that I helped other folks win money with that.
Thanks for calling me.
And then were we?
No, I wasn't. I don't think I was here yet.
I don't know if we were working together at that point. And then I did it again the following year. I'm almost certain that I did it again. I don't remember who scored the first basket in the UConn-Purdue title game.
You don't think you got that one right?
No, I think I did.
Oh.
I think I got that one too. First baskets were a winner. So you might not be able to bet like rebound props, but you could still bet individual player props for sure in college sports, specific ones. So you wouldn't be able to bet like first basket. Anything that involved a specific player, you would no longer be able to bet at the college level.
Trey Kaufman-Renn.
100%.
And that one was a little more wary because there was a couple missed shots both ways. Edie missed a shot.
Yeah, whereas the previous year for Kansas, it was
just came right down, knocked down a 3.
100%.
Yeah, Caravan missed a 3 on the other end, and then Braden Smith found TKR.
Yep, worked out for your pal. Worked out for old GC. The moral of all this being that yes, they are considering that possibility. And they only have until Monday. Obviously, Monday is the end of the legislative session, where they would not only ban those individual college athlete prop bets, would also, and I think these are the big ones, require bettors to set deposit and time limits in advance before placing wagers. It would prohibit the use of credit cards to fund sports betting accounts and establish stricter rules governing how and when players can modify their preset limits. And over on BAL, what we're talking about is like, even if these are good ideas, is a potential government overreach, right? Like the comparison I made is, like, I know I shouldn't drink 9 beers, but should you be able to tell me that I can't drink 9 beers? Like, you can tell me I can't drink 9 beers and drive a car, but can you come to my house and say you're not allowed to drink these 9 beers? Or, 22-year-old Glenn Clark, 13 beers, whatever it was.
Wow, this guy, 13 beers.
Yeah, I don't know. But that was the topic, and it's interesting to me, and I don't know how much steam it's going to gain, but I do think, and we talked a lot with the folks from the Maryland Center for Excellence on Problem Gambling, and we support their work wholeheartedly. 1-800-GAMBLER, helpmygamblingproblem.org. I think that I like the idea of education over legislation. I think that people should know, and I don't know that it should be legislated to them. I also don't know if it's the end of the world. Like, Is it a terrible idea that you say, hey, I can only lose $500. If I lose $500, I have to stop. It doesn't sound dreadful to me. I am torn. I'm torn because I'm, wherever I'm at politically, I don't want more government involvement. I don't. This is where I kind of become a libertarian, right? Like, don't tell me how to live my life. I'm okay. I'm an adult. I'll figure it out. But at the same time, I acknowledge that gambling issues are really impacting lives and are really hurting people. And the idea of there being some guardrails, I can't say it's the worst idea that I've ever heard. All right, why don't we do this? We want to catch up with Gordon, but in the meantime, why don't we go ahead and do a tidbit, and we'll see where we're at, all right?
Yeah.
You okay?
No.
What happened?
I have to figure out how to turn on so that our friend Gordon can join from a different country.
Huh?
Yeah. And I remember we had this issue before, and I forget how to fix it. So.
Oh, is that the issue now? Is that he
Yeah.
hasn't been able to join because I thought that was why we use these services.
I thought so too. Hold on.
Well, that's a bit awkward.
It really is.
That's a bit awkward. All right, well, I'll just be here. You want me to do a Masters update? You want me to do that?
Yeah, let's hear it. Who's winning?
I can't even do the Masters music. The azaleas are in bloom, and so too
Oh, you're doing great.
is the game of Sam Burns. Sam Burns tied for the lead at the Masters. A tradition unlike any other.
Wow.
Sam Burns shot a first round 67 today. He sits at 5 under. He's tied with the defending champion of the Masters, a man who chased the green jacket for the entirety of his career. Now he looks to make it back-to-back as Sam Burns is tied with Rory McIlroy atop the leaderboard at Augusta.
Wow.
2 strokes back, you'll find Kurt Kitayama, who I think is named Kitayama. Also, you'll find Jason Day, Patrick Reed, Justin Rose, and Gary Woodland, and Scotty Scheffler. Scheffler, Woodland, and Rose all still on the course in their first round. There's a piano playing in the background, imagine. The Masters on CBS.
You're doing a great job.
You want me to do something else?
Hopefully not.
You want me to do, I don't know what you want me to do here. I could do tubular. I could do that. Yeah. Wait, Fred Couples is 2 under? How old is Fred Couples? Fred Couples has got to be 100. How the hell old is Fred Couples? How is Fred Couples 2 under par? Fred Couples is 66 years old. What the hell is going on? I just looked down the leaderboard. Fred Couples is currently 2 under par and tied for 9th. He's through 13 holes today.
Does it all matter? I mean, Scotty's going to win.
That's not going to be something I'm going to be able to do with you because that's not my area. Here's the rest of Tubular. The Masters continues on ESPN right now. Tonight on Big Ten Network, the #1 Maryland women's lacrosse team hosts #4 Northwestern. That's at 6 o'clock. That's a good one. The Yankees lost, so we like that. The Wizards, as they're winding down the regular season, take on the Bulls at 7 on Monumental. Unfortunately, all I can say now is for everything else, go to glennclarkradio.com. You want me to read the non-sports highlights? I gotcha. Yeah. I'll do that while you continue to hopefully try to solve whatever this problem is. And I'm not sure what the problem is. Non-sports tonight, we've got, none of this looks any good to me at all. I do.
Yesterday was good. The boys' final season came out yesterday.
I am looking forward to that.
There was something else.
The new season of Hex? Tonight?
Yeah, tonight.
Excellent.
It was either last night or tonight. I think it was.
Excellent. Yeah, you've got it on for tonight.
Okay.
So unless
that's right.
Unless you're lying to yourself, then we got some questions here. Hacks, season 5, and the final season of Hacks, which is a bummer because that's a very good show. The premiere for season 5 is tonight. That's 9 o'clock on HBO Max, and. Yeah. Oh, the miniature wife looks dumb. That's the Elizabeth Banks thing, right?
Yeah, it didn't.
It looks bad to me. I do like Animal Control, 9 o'clock on Fox, and Going Dutch after that. I do like those shows, and I think that's all I've got. I'm running out of steam, pal.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Let me see what I got tubular-wise. The A's just won 1-0 over the Yankees.
Tubular's taken care of. I did tubular.
Or, I mean,
tidbit.
Yeah.
You gonna be all right?
No.
You gonna be all right? If if he's not dying, literally, he's dying figuratively. It's been a day of death for our buddy Griffin Bass. Just a real tough scene for our pal. I want to talk to Gordon. That's my thing. I'd love to talk to Gordon, but if technology is going to lead us astray, we're just going to have to do that another day, man. That's just the way it's going to have to go. Tidbit, if Griffin can do it, is brought to you by the print issue of Press Box, which is available for free at your Baltimore area High's Dairy stores. You can read it at PressBoxOnline.com. Cal Ripken's on the cover. And it's the final days for this print issue of Press Box before it's gone and replaced by a new print issue, which is slated to hit newsstands next week. So get it now or forever hold your pee.
Last time the A's beat the Yankees in Yankee Stadium, 1-0. God. It was 1972.
Right,
no, I'm not.
It
was 1972. And because I like Gordon too, and I feel bad.
I love Gordon. I want to talk to him.
I can't figure this BS out. It was 1972.
Is there another
so,
streaming
lineups.
service that we could use in order to make it work? Maybe. I don't know where we are. I don't know if you could share another screen. What's the other one that we use sometimes? StreamYard. I use StreamYard sometimes. We use that for Project Game Day, right?
No, we use Zoom.
We used to use it for Project Game Day.
Yeah.
We use it for Stan and I when we do picks. That's when we use StreamYard. You were saying?
Yeah, I guess we're going to have to do this a different day.
I love you. It's okay.
I don't know. Do you want to try the name? The Orioles also had to throw a shutout that day.
Look at that. There's Gordon McGuinness. Look at that. You're all flustered about this. You're all panicked. And there he is, just waiting to come say hello. He's been trying hard the whole time. It's like 2 a.m. where he is. You can see, and yet he's still grinding away, trying to figure out a way to come chat with us. Hi, Gordon. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing well, thanks. How are you?
We're all right. My pal Griffin was just losing it, just melting down, trying to figure out how to get you on the show. I was very worried.
Gordon. Thank you.
Very worried about it. I get worked up about things. I've never seen Griffin like this. Like face going red, the whole thing. It's good to see you. Unfortunately, I know there's been changes in your professional life, but that gives us an opportunity to plug what it is that you're doing now. Everybody has been following you for years and the work that you've been doing at PFF. But where are they following you now as you continue to grind away, breaking down players?
Yeah, I mean, the change, obviously, there were some changes at PFF, and I kind of took that opportunity to make the changes myself. And I had a great 12 years there, so I don't really have anything negative to say. But I've been allowed to grow a following over the years, so I'm hoping to use that. I've changed my Twitter handle to Gordon NFL, so that the PFF isn't in there. And I have a little YouTube channel that's under my own name that only has 2 videos out so far, so that's slow. And I also launched a Ravens focused Substack. It's called Ravens in 5, which, as a non-American, I didn't really think about the N5 part, the connotations for baseball and basketball playoffs. It's designed to be effectively like stuff you can read or watch in 5 minutes, like little snippets of my thoughts on the Ravens, different things like that. So it's been fun. Yeah, I've had an enjoyable couple of weeks. First time in 20 years, because I went from my last full-time job into PFF on the same day. So it's the first time I've had a little bit of a career break. So I'm using the month of April to recharge and kind of do some fun stuff that I enjoy on my own.
That's awesome, man. We love that. We'll retweet it as well. And I have no doubt the work will continue to be top-notch with the venture now Ravens in 5, which is where you're finding Gordon McGuinness. I know you recently did a Vega Aoni Spencer Fano breakdown. I guess let me approach it more broadly, Gordon. Is it coming down to either something unexpected happens in the draft and someone's sitting there at 14 that you didn't think was sitting there at 14, or the Ravens are going offensive line at 14?
I think it depends on, so I think across various different positions, I think the story for the Ravens is there are a few players at the top of the board, and then I think there's a little bit of a gap. So on the offensive line, I think there's 3. I think Francis Mauanoa is unlikely to fall to 14, but maybe some of this stuff that's come out just now about the rechecks on his back, maybe he falls there. But then it becomes Spencer Fano and Ioane in that spot. But all 3 of those guys theoretically could be off the board at that point. Like, I think Ioane does have the potential of going even before the Ravens pick.
Wow.
And Spencer Fano, I think definitely can.
Yeah.
But the way I would approach the draft, though, is if those 3 offensive linemen are gone, then one of the top 2 wide receivers is probably there. If all 5 of those guys are gone, then one of the individual talented players like a Sonny Styles or someone like that has probably fallen to that point. So I think the only thing they can get wrong in this situation, unless they really love a player, is if they deviate too far from the kind of consensus board, right? Like if they decide they need to get an offensive lineman and they drop down below those 3, then I think it could be like a little bit of a reach.
Even Proctor?
Proctor's fascinating to me, especially because I've seen a few people talking about him kicking inside, but I don't feel like there's that many people talking about him. And the way he looks on film, he strikes me as the type of player who would benefit immensely from kicking inside. Like we've seen, it's been a good number of years, but I remember when I first started watching football, there was Leonard Davis from Texas who kicked inside to guard at the next level. And he's a big man, is Caden Proctor. So if they were going for someone like Proctor, or if it's at the wide receiver spot like a Jordan Tyson or someone like that, I would probably like to see if they can move down a little bit and gain a little bit extra draft capital. And I think this is going to be an interesting draft for that, because the cost for someone to move up might not be as high as it's been in previous years. Like the Ravens might be comfortable moving down 5-6 spots and picking up a 3rd round pick. Because I think for a lot of different positions, there's going to be different flavors of players that different teams like. I think there might be more of an opportunity to trade down than I think people have considered so far.
Let me go back to a couple things that you said in there. One, you mentioned the idea of the top 2 wide receivers. Obviously, Carnell Tate is the top wide receiver. Is Tyson 2 to you or Mekhi Lemon 2 to you?
I would have Mekhi Lemon 2.
Okay.
Jordan Tyson, I love the idea of, and if there was no injury concerns, then I would have him right in amongst that group. The injury concerns just worry me because there was like a number of them, and then there was, I think, some issues like in the lead up to the combine that led to him not being able to work out there. So just a few things there that give some concern.
It's a weird thing because I like every other dumb guy that has a microphone in front of me. I keep using the word prototype constantly, right? Like that if the Ravens could use something, we all know what Zay Flowers is, they could really use this prototype. And Mekhi Lemon doesn't necessarily fit the idea of a prototype, but I've had some argue that what he is more like a Derek Mason type, someone that's just reliable, that you know he's going to run the right route, and he's going to catch the football, and he's going to move the chains. Is there more value to Mekhi Lemon than we realize because he isn't just going to jump off the page and be that 6'4" game changer, the guy that's going to have 12 touchdowns that it feels like the Ravens have been missing at the position like ever?
I think his ceiling is probably the same as Zay Flowers' ceiling is. And the fact that he isn't like a prototypical X receiver, like a Carnell Tate. And I think the absolute dream scenario that is very unlikely, there's probably a 10% chance,
right,
is Carnell Tate falls to 14.
If Carnell Tate falls to 14, I might walk naked to the podium at that point, Gordon. Like, good God.
If he doesn't go, though, then I think the interesting question becomes, do you take a Mekhi Lemon, or if you move down a little bit, someone like a KC Concepcion, one of those guys, who... The question, I guess, then becomes, like, is that shaping the decision on Zay Flowers' future in Baltimore? And I don't know how the Ravens are going to think about that. It's just the reality that in the NFL these days that wide receivers are being paid huge contracts now. Like Zay Flowers' next contract is almost certainly going to be above $30 million a year, potentially like a good few million above that. And it would be interesting to see if the Ravens can get a receiver who has a similar style to him in the draft this year. Does that change their perspective a little bit? And I think that would be tough for a lot of Ravens fans to take, given the past year when Tyler Linderbaum had his career, didn't get the fifth-year option because he was a center and all the positional groupings there, then leaves in free agency, and also Odafe Oweh. Like, I think fans want to see the Ravens re-signing those first-round picks. But just the way this draft shakes out might give them something to think about there.
Gordon McGuinness is with us here on GCR. Gordon, I wonder where you are with the Ruben Bain conversation. Where are you with it would be a dream scenario if he was maybe not even at 14, but like at 11 to give yourself a chance to go get him because he's the best player in the draft. He's a game changer. He's a wrecker for the next 15 years versus, no, but his arms are too small. He's not really that guy. Even if he were to fall a bit, you could do better than that. Where are you with that dichotomy?
I do like him as a player. It's the arm length being an outlier is just something you can't ignore. So you just have to accept that that's a risk. Now, I think it's a lot less of a risk at 14 than it is at 5 or 6. So it's easier for the Ravens. And I also think what the Ravens done earlier this offseason in bringing in Trey Hendrickson, that means that they probably can take more of a risk there. Like, they don't need Ruben Bain to come in and be a game-wrecking edge defender as a pass rusher immediately. If he can be good while being the game-wrecker he was against the run, and also offer some of that versatility where he can kick inside on passing downs and different things like that, with what the Ravens have makeup-wise there in the edge defender room now, after adding Trey Hendrickson, I think it's a lot easier to find a role for him where he can be effective, as opposed to the Ravens didn't have Trey Hendrickson after the Max Crosby deal falls through. If you put Ruben Bain in there, offensive lines can focus on him. They're not going to be able to do that with Trey Hendrickson in there. So I think it would be an opportunity for him to thrive, I think.
I am like, if Carnell Tate's my, I'll run naked to the podium. Ruben Bain is like my, shirtless, I guess, would be the way that it worked out at that point. Gordon, if they were to have one of those scenarios play out, and if it's not offensive line in round 1, is there a starting center? Is that something they can do on night 2 of the draft? That they don't have to do this. And we can all argue that we all know John Simpson's going to be he's going to be the right guard. You could argue that they did see enough from either Emory Jones or Emory Jones and Andrew Voorhees together to cover another guard position. I would still prefer that they upgrade there, but Bullock is such a stretch to me right now as being the inherited starting center. It feels like they have to do that. Can that be done on night 2 of the draft?
It can. I think night 2 is going to be a big center night throughout the NFL in this draft. I think there's at least 3, maybe 4 guys that go there. There's Jake Slaughter from Florida. There's Connor Lew from Auburn. There is Sam Hecht from Kansas State, and there's Logan Jones from Iowa. The interesting thing for the Ravens will be how confident they are or how closely they group all of them together. Because I think they're probably viewed by most around the league as third-round draft picks. But if the Ravens come on the clock at 45 and there's one of those centers that they really like, they can't really afford to risk them not falling all the way to the 80th pick. So at that point, I think they probably have to either reach a little bit or move down a little bit and then take them. But those 4 guys, I think, are, I don't think they're going to be Pro Bowl players in year 1, but all of them look like capable NFL centers. And I think the Ravens can find a guy who starts in year 1 on the second day of the draft.
I know there's been a lot of discourse about Kenyon Sadiq as we assume the Ravens, they're in the market for tight ends even when they have tight ends, right? Like, that's just the nature of the organization. But they certainly, maybe David Njoku ends up being, part of this conversation at some point. But right now, it definitely feels like they need to find sort of, frankly, an heir apparent to Isaiah Likely, right? Like a bit more of an athletic, stretch the field type of tight end to pair alongside Mark Andrews. If it's not Sadiq, I guess let me go twofold. Is there any world to you where you're taking him, Sadiq, at 14? And then 2, if it's not, because, again, the Ravens' history isn't necessarily just about finding first-round tight ends, is that guy then there in the next couple of rounds?
I think I would prefer a day 2 or day 3 pick at tight end and bringing up and picking up Njoku as a free agent. Sadiq is. I don't mean this in a bad way, because I think it's like an okay scenario for the Ravens. But I think the scenario where they take him with the 14th overall pick is if the board falls in the worst way possible. And I think the worst way possible for the Ravens is neither of the 2 safeties come off the board in the top 13 picks. And just all those 2 wide receivers, all the offensive linemen, all the edge defenders, and then your Sonny Styles, Jeremiah Love, all those guys are off the board. Kenyon Sadiq, I think the thing I worry about is for a guy who runs a 4.39 and had a guy who would probably have been a top 5 pick at quarterback, his production was just okay. It was record-breaking in terms of Oregon tight ends, I think I saw, but it was still something in the 500-yard range. That worries me with the 14th overall pick, because if you're that good as an athlete and you had a quarterback, why was that not so much better than it was? I do think with the way the Ravens are evolving on offense, though, they would find a way to make use of him, be it as like a power slot type of guy. But I would just much rather go in wide receiver or offensive line in the first round, and then coming back in, maybe not even the second round, but the third or the fourth round. And there's tight ends in this group. I think there are ones as well who can fit with like what they want in terms of maybe a guy who's more an inline blocker that would allow Mark Andrews to continue to be more of that receiver, like a Sam Roush from Stanford is a guy who looks like he just loves blocking. And I think NFL coaches are going to love that. So I definitely think it's a draft that they can find a tight end a little bit later as well.
Then I'll come back to a couple of things. One, I'm going to assume that like a Derek Moore type is interesting to Jesse Minter, someone that he has history with. And my God, it's not as if there's no history for this. Is that a fit at some point in this draft? Or is there someone else that you look at and say, hey, there's another Michigan defender that Jesse Minter knows from a couple years ago that perhaps you should be aware of?
Moore does feel like the right fit. Like, I think the Ravens in this draft, if they don't go edge defender in the first round, which they don't have to depending on how the board falls, they still are going to want to get one.
No doubt.
Within the top 4 rounds. Like, finding guys that can rush the passer. And feels like the last 3 NFL drafts have been so deep off the edge that like you can find productive guys that can make an impact even in year 1, kind of later in the draft there. I think Derek Moore's probably going sometime on day 2, but like was great in some of the All-Star games and like had a tremendous season. And there's obviously the Michigan connection there, so it makes a lot of sense.
Anybody else that we're not talking about, whether it's I can't, as you point out, I think we've laid out everything that could happen at 14, right? Like I think we've laid all that out. But what else are you looking at, particularly second, third round, and saying, we think they need to address interior line, we think they need to address edge rush. Is there still strength at wide receiver there at that point? What else should we be thinking about as we get closer?
I think my dream scenario for the Ravens would be that the board falls in a way that they go offensive line in the first round, because it then allows them to come back to that wide receiver spot probably in the second or the third round. The second round, I think, especially at 45, is going to be like a really sweet spot for wide receiver. I know he's coming off the ACL injury, but if Chris Bell's there at 45, like I hate having a comp for a player that is similar to an elite player in the NFL. But when you watch him run like shallow crosses and take them into long gains, he just looks like AJ Brown. Like he's a real powerful runner when he gets the ball in his hands. As long as the injury stuff checks out there, then you're comfortable with that. And then if it winds up in the third round, then there's a guy like Ted Hurst from Georgia State who I think can make an impact there. So receiver's a position that I think the Ravens can afford to use day 2 to take advantage of that. And then I think the ideal draft for the Ravens could easily be offensive line in the first round and then going wide receiver center on day 2, and coming away with 3 guys that can make a pretty sizable impact in year 1.
Gordon McGuinness, let's remind everybody, Ravens in 5. You can go gordonmcguinness.substack.com, correct?
That's correct.
And, of course, new Twitter accounts. It's still the same Gordon. It's still him. Just a different account. Gordon NFL is now where you follow him. And then this is the most important question I have for you, because allow me to apologize for my naivete, and I'm going to sound like Ted Lasso asking how many countries are in this country. Do you guys root for Rory McIlroy? Like, is there a United Kingdom thing, or do you just not care if they're not Scottish?
I mean, like, collectively as a country, we don't care if they're not Scottish.
Okay.
Like, we care about Bob McIntyre, and that's it. I personally, like, I really enjoyed Rory winning the Masters last year. Like, I love, those sporting stories.
I'm not even a golf fan, and I was caught up in it. Like, I was swept up in watching Rory McIlroy in the Masters, man. It was a beautiful thing.
Yeah, exactly. It was, and any time there's a sporting moment like that, it's great.
But that's not. It's not a. So I'm guessing it was like a bigger deal when Andy Murray maybe was winning. Like, that was a massive deal.
Yeah. Like, I remember Andy Murray's first. I was living with a housemate at that point. Andy Murray's first Wimbledon. Like, we were just like hugging in the living room, like cool, celebrating.
That's cool. I dig that. I dig that a lot. Gordon, appreciate you, man. We'll still be in touch, and we'll be hitting you up to do some more stuff in the coming weeks and months. Thank you, as always, taking the time for us.
Thank you very much.
Gordon McGuinness with us here on GCR. Appreciate him doing that. You all right? You all right?
I guess so, yeah.
We stayed a lot later than I wanted to, but
yeah, I know.
You're going to be okay. I promise.
Thanks.
It's going to be all right. It's a rough day for Griffin, man. It's a really...
I had to pick myself up off the floor. And then, it's just...
I don't know what happened today. Did you have a tidbit?
I did, yeah. We're talking NFL draft, the quarterback that
weren't you doing a baseball tidbit
I
before?
did, but this was the real one I wanted. I was just trying to kind of see if I couldn't kill more time.
Jesus.
A's get their first win at Yankee Stadium since July 1972, if anyone cares.
Okay.
First 1-0.
Is that for real?
Sorry,
I
first
was
1-0.
like, what? There's no way.
Yeah. First
There's
1-0.
no way.
I jinxed the no-hitter, but they still won.
hell?
They still won 1-0.
It just caught me what you just said.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
Diego Pavia, hoping to hear his name. He became just the third FBS quarterback to throw for 10,000 yards and rush for 3,000 in his collegiate career.
Throw for 10,000, rush for 3,000. I mean, it would make sense if 10,000. I don't know if Lamar
is in the 9,000, 4,000.
Damn
club.
it!
Only guy in the 9,000, 4,000 club, for what it's worth.
How about RG3?
No.
Michael Vick?
No.
Oh, he only played a couple seasons. Deshaun Watson?
No.
It's going well. How about Cam didn't play that. Cam?
No, not Cam. Yeah.
I thought he didn't play enough. That's the other problem, is they got to be guys that played long enough. How about Vince Young?
Not Vince Young.
How is that possible?
The early one, he played from 06 to 2010.
It's not Tebow.
No, and then the other one came out last year.
Kaepernick?
Yeah, Kaepernick.
Wow.
Kaepernick at Nevada, 10,000, 4,000 for. So
Damn.
sorry, so Lamar. So Lamar is one of two. So it was Cap and Lamar, the only two in the 9,000, 4,000 club. But Kaepernick was at 10,000 and 4,000.
Okay, and you said the other one was last year?
Yeah. As in, this past year was his sophomore year, so 2 years ago, I guess is the way I should have said it.
Wait.
Came out 2 years ago.
Okay, so he was in the 24 NFL draft.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, there's no way it's Cam Ward. Like, that's not. Who else was in the 24 NFL draft? That would be.
And he probably benefited from. How many years did he play?
It's not Caleb Williams. Jaden Daniels.
Jaden Daniels.
So
is in the 12,000, 3,000 club. 12,000 passing yards.
Yeah.
And Jaden Daniels is
a little bit older, yep.
Yeah.
Yep. No doubt about it. All right. Hey, we made it. We did an afternoon show. We proved it can be done. Andrew
almost.
Steck,
I know.
Andrew
almost.
Steck said if Fred Couples finishes under par today, it'd be his 59th career round at the Masters under par, breaking a tie with Tom Watson for third most ever.
Wow.
Courtesy. So he did a tidbit for you today.
Thanks.
Via Justin Ray.
Andrew.
When you were scrambling, when you were panicked,
yeah.
Andrew Steck was like, I'll just handle tidbit. Don't worry about it. Maybe because it's an afternoon show, he could just sort of be like our ombudsman tomorrow. He could just tap in and like give us some Masters updates from time to time. The azaleas can be in bloom. Are you mad that we didn't talk about Daniel Faalele?
I mean, I'm not mad.
Okay.
Sure, it's something we did. It's an omission we had. We didn't talk about it.
he can do that. See if he just wants to be like a silent third partner or something tomorrow, if that's the reality. All right. What was I? There was something else I was going to do here. What was I going to do? No, let's just wrap it up.
I forgot about this.
Oh, yeah. We got to tell everybody about our great friends at Cruise Maryland. Absolutely.
Have you ever thought of taking a cruise to these wonderful destinations with sunny skies and beautiful beaches? Well, wait no longer. We're ready for you to cruise from the Cruise Maryland Terminal.
Have a little phrase that you can go from baggage to margarita in about 15 minutes.
Choose fun with an array of destinations, onboard activities, entertainment, and world-class cuisine.
Contact your travel agent and book your cruise today. Let your adventure begin.
All right. Thanks today to Gordon McGuinness. Thanks to Brad Brach. Thanks also to Eric Spanos. We'll get it all up in the greatest hits section of the...
Oh, wait, that's not live. Colbert's going to have Nathan Lane and Arsenio Hall.
Tab at GlennClarkRadio.com. What's Arsenio Hall plugging? Are they doing another Coming to America? Because the last one was not great.
Or, oh, wait, no, that was last night, too. Gene Smart. No, yeah, Gene Smart was last night. Sorry.
Tomorrow, same deal, 3 o'clock. That's when we'll be here. Looking forward to that. And we got a great day tomorrow. Rico Garcia scheduled to join us tomorrow. Muggsy Bogues, Baltimore legend, and is going to be involved with a new Baltimore pro sports team. Looking forward to finding out about that tomorrow. And also Towson goalie Matt Nolan.
Yes.
Tomorrow as well. So, yeah, join us again, 3 o'clock tomorrow for another late afternoon edition of Glenn Clark Radio. Thanks to everybody at PressBox, all of our great sponsors and partners, including Live Casino and Hotel, the Costas Inn, your Baltimore area highest dairy stores, Warnken Law, leading edge auto body, 1-800-GAMBLER, helpmygamblingproblem.org, Quigley's Half Irish Pub, the Baltimore Orioles, Cruise Maryland, CountySports.zone, your local Toyota dealer, buyatoyota.com. Thanks to Griffin at Griffin_Bass. Follow us, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Glenn Clark Radio. Have a great rest of your Thursday evening. Go Maryland women's lacrosse. Duke sucks.